If you are a comic book collector, you already know about eBay, or Feebay as they call it. But did you know that there are a ton of other auction houses out there where you can actually pick up some really cool comics? If you want to know some awesome places to go hunting, stay tuned to the video. This content is sponsored by BCW Supplies. Visit them at bcwsupplies.com. Reggie here, your friendly neighborhood bodybuilder and comic book collector, and I want to welcome you to another one of my videos. In this video, I am going to let you guys in on some secrets. And I'm gonna be honest, I didn't actually know it was a secret until recently when a couple of people reached out to me and said, hey, how do you go about buying lots of comics and how do you trust eBay, et cetera, et cetera. And I realized that people assumed when I was talking about Spider-Woman and that episode of Random Run that I had actually picked that up off of eBay, and I hadn't. I had not gotten that run from eBay. And if you remember some of my early videos back when I was in my kitchen, I did a massive unboxing of a ton of Spider-Man books. Every single one of those books actually came from an auction, and it wasn't an eBay auction. And so I've realized that what I thought was pretty common knowledge actually might not be common knowledge for everybody, which is what prompted me to do this video. So in this video, what I hope to be able to do is to highlight for you guys some of the auction sites and platforms that I have used to pick up books. And I'm also going to highlight some more, I think, more common auction houses that many of you are probably already aware of, but for the sake of completeness, I want to throw a couple of more things in there. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into this. So the first one is the one we all know, right? It is eBay. eBay. It is eBay. So great auction house, if you will, where consumers, comic shops, somebody that found some books in an old house or were left some books from a distant relative will actually go on eBay and make comics available. And it is, I think, the most common auction platform that is out there. And so, there are some pros and cons to eBay. I buy a fair number of books off of eBay, a lot fewer now than in the beginning, but it is a great resource to tap into. And there's also some really great programs that you can sign up with under eBay and that are associated with eBay to save some money, to get some money back, et cetera, et cetera. So if you haven't already signed up for the eBay Bucks program, you definitely want to do that. It's a really cool program where you can get some, money back at the end of the quarter for money spent over the course of the quarter. And if you use their app on your mobile phone or whatever, you can actually save some additional money. Sometimes on the app, they'll give you 10% versus if you buy it on the website at certain periods, it'll be 8%. So it's a couple of extra percentage points that get kicked back to you. There's also something really cool called Ebates. And there's actually a link to Ebates in the description of this video, where if you spend, I think it's $25 on Ebates after signing up for the program, then you get $10 back. And you can spend that $25 anywhere online at select stores or on eBay. And so you get, $10 back if you spend 25, plus you get 2% back. So if you sign up for eBay Bucks and Ebates, then you have some nice money coming back to you for comics that you are already going to buy. So I will try to put a link to the eBay program in the description, and then I'll also put one in there for Ebates as well. So check those out because that's a good way for you to save some money as it relates to eBay. So before we get to some of the auction houses and platforms that I want to talk about, I want to give you guys just a quick reminder. And this reminder I think is important for auction sites outside of eBay because many of the other auction sites and auction houses actually charge the buyers fees on top of the items that are being purchased. And that could range anywhere from 10 to 15 to 20% on top of the item that you're buying. And then you may also have to pay shipping costs as well. So you want to be aware of the terms of the auction site or the auction house before you bid, before you get a bill that you don't necessarily anticipate getting. The other thing is, if you win, from, one of these auction sites, you want to make sure you reach out to them to have a conversation around the proper way to ship books, the same way that you would do on eBay with a seller, right? You want to understand, how are they going to ship it? How are they going to package it? When are they going to ship it? When can you expect it? Will you get a tracking number? And I say that because I've learned the hard way. Not all of these auction houses are accustomed to actually shipping comics. They treat them like any other item, and they don't recognize that sometimes special care needs to be taken with comics. I've actually flown down to pick up lots, like the lot that I mentioned before with Spider-Man and also with Spider-Woman. I actually flew down, picked the lot up, and brought it back personally because I didn't trust that the auction house was going to be able to ship it safely and properly. So just a couple of things to be aware of there. So the first auction house that I want to mention is Dig Auction, and I've maybe purchased one or two things from Dig. It's a good auction house. I think they have monthly and weekly sales, so you definitely want to check them out, look around, see if there's anything that is of interest to you there. And again, make sure you're looking at the fine print with all of these, not just with Dig. The next auction site is My Comic Shop. And I've actually purchased a lot of books from My Comic Shop, but I've never participated in one of their auctions. One of the things that I actually do with them is I will find a book on eBay. I will see that it comes from My Comic Shop. I will then bounce over to My Comic Shop's website to see how much that book is going for on their website. Because sometimes what you'll see is that the book will be higher priced on eBay because of the eBay fees than it is on My Comic Shop's website, and you can actually get it a little bit cheaper. Sometimes it's actually the opposite, which I don't quite understand, but I'm certain that there's a reason for it. Sometimes the book will be more expensive on their site and cheaper on eBay, and so you just want to use your resources wisely to get the book that you're going to buy as inexpensively as you possibly can. So I've never done an auction on My Comic Shop, but they have auctions, so you might want to look into that. I would definitely look into all the details because I'm not really able to offer you much advice there, but I will tell you, the folks over at My Comic Shop are awesome. I bought some decent books from them over this last year. I've had a couple of issues with like logins and some other things with, making sure my book goes to the right place. And these guys have been really accommodating to me. I actually one time had a pull list set up with them because they were offering, I think it was like 33% off or something like that on new books. So I wanted to make sure that I took advantage of that by doing a pre-order for some books that were coming out. So mycomicshop.com. So the next site is one that I actually really like. It is Back to the Past Collectibles. And I think they're actually a brick and mortar comic shop, but then they also do auctions as well. And so I found these guys. I signed up for their newsletter. I would get there. I think they do them sometimes weekly on like Saturdays when they have auctions. Typically the lead time for their auctions is relatively short, unlike some of the other sites where you may have 2 or 3 weeks where they promote the auction in advance, which means that more sellers or more buyers can find out about it in advance and then show up. Back to the Past Collectibles sometimes has a shorter promotional window, and so there's actually fewer buyers. And so I've actually picked up Hulk 181, New Mutants 87, and a couple of other books from these guys where I've actually jumped on there, found books, not many bidders, been able to secure the book. Sometimes I've actually been traveling at the time that I won the auction and actually had the book shipped to a hotel that I was traveling to because I didn't want to send it back home and miss and risk not getting the book. So Back to the Past Collectibles is awesome. They have some great deals on books, so I definitely encourage you guys to check them out. So the next two are no surprise, right? These are the ones that a lot of people know about in addition to eBay. There is a Comic Link and Heritage Auctions. And I'm gonna be honest, I have not purchased anything from either one of these websites. I know a lot of people that have and that do. They also have some fees. I think they charge like 15 and 20%. I think they charge the seller and the buyer fees, so they make money hand over fist technically. They have great books, right? Some high-end comics, original art, etc. But I personally have never purchased from them. Maybe one day I will. Sooner or later I will. But Comic Link and Heritage Auctions are two sites that are pretty well known, so you definitely want to check them out. See if there's something of interest to you there. Make sure you read the fine print to know what you're getting yourself into. So the last recommendation that I have for you actually isn't an auction house. It is actually an auction platform. So Back to the Past Collectibles actually uses a platform called Proxy Bid. And Proxy Bid is essentially a auction platform. So if you are an estate planner or someone that closes out estates for people that have passed away, or something like that, or you're in the antique business and you come into a large collection of whatever it happens to be, coins, baseball cards, cars, any of that kind of stuff, you can actually use Proxy Bid to actually auction your items off. And essentially what they are is a platform for anybody. Typically, I think it's like a brick and mortar shop, comic shop, an antique store, that kind of thing, where they actually, sign up and they use the platform to execute auctions for the items that they have. And so you can actually go onto Proxy Bid's website, you can sign up, and then once you sign up, you can actually search their upcoming auctions. And by searching their upcoming auctions, you can actually find other auction houses, estate planning places, antique stores that are out there that may have comics that are coming up for auction. And I've actually found a lot of really awesome deals by doing what I'm describing to you guys right now, which is to go to Proxy Bid, sign up, do some searches, and see what's out there. So there you have it. Those are my auction house secrets. Some of what I talked about is not necessarily a secret, but maybe there's a couple of things you guys heard here that you weren't aware of before. At the end of the day, I hope that you guys maybe heard something that resonated with you and can actually lead you to find a really awesome book down the road. Be sure to visit BCW Supplies to learn about their more than 950 plus products for collectors. Products include card sleeves, display cases, comic bags, storage boxes, and gaming folders, just to name a few items. Head over to BCW Supplies today for more information.